A new crew heads to the space station, a major storm spotted from space, and a robotic spacecraft enabling human missions to the moon. A few of the stories to tell you about this week at NASA. On August 26th, a SpaceX Dragon spacecraft launched to the International Space Station on NASA's SpaceX Crew 7 mission. The next day, the four-person crew, including NASA astronaut Jasmine Mogbelli, arrived at the orbital outpost and were welcomed aboard as part of the station's Expedition 69 crew. They will spend about 6 months conducting research and technology demonstrations on the space station to benefit life on Earth and future Artemis human exploration missions to the moon and eventually to Mars. External cameras on the space station captured views of major Hurricane Idalia on August 30th, not long after the storm made landfall near Keaton Beach, Florida, as a Category 3 storm with winds of about 125 miles an hour. At the time, Idalia was moving north-northeast at about 18 miles an hour toward the southeast United States. Prior to landfall, the system had reached Category 4 storm status with winds of about 130 miles an hour. Data from our Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, or LRO, was used during a recent training session to help familiarize the Artemis II astronauts with what they can expect to see from lunar orbit on their upcoming mission around the moon. The training involved scientific visualizations to help them identify lunar landmarks, geological features, and areas of interest for future Artemis moon landings. LRO has returned a treasure trove of scientific data during its 14 years of observing the moon. August 30th marked the 40-year anniversary of NASA astronaut Guy Bluford becoming the first African-American to fly in space. He flew aboard Space Shuttle Challenger on the STS-8 mission, the first night launch and night landing of the Space Shuttle program. Bluford was a member of NASA's 1978 astronaut class, which included the first African Americans, the first Asian American, and the first women astronauts. Our SpaceX Crew 6 mission safely returns to Earth, the tech demo hitching a ride on our Psyche spacecraft, and studying ancient life on Earth to better understand Mars. A few of the stories to tell you about this week at NASA. On September 3rd, the four-person crew of our SpaceX Crew 6 mission, including NASA astronauts Stephen Bowen and Woody Hoberg, climbed aboard their SpaceX Dragon spacecraft and undocked from the International Space Station. They returned to Earth very early the next morning, splashing down safely in the waters off the coast of Jacksonville, Florida. The international crew contributed to hundreds of experiments and technology demonstrations during its 6 months in orbit. The no earlier than October 5th targeted launch date of our Psyche mission to a metal-rich asteroid is less than a month away. The Psyche spacecraft will have a hitchhiker on the trip, a laser transceiver for our Deep Space Optical Communications, or DSOC, technology demonstration. DSOC, the agency's first test of high-bandwidth optical communications beyond the moon, aims to show how lasers could increase data transmission rates far beyond the capacity of current radio frequency systems used on spacecraft today. Members of our Mars exploration program and several international partners recently went on a field expedition to the Western Australian outback to study some of the oldest confirmed fossilized life forms on Earth that may be relatable to Mars. Both planets may have had similar pasts, so learning more about the evolution of Earth may help us understand what we find now and in the future as we search for signs of ancient microbial life on Mars. An MD-90 airplane was recently flown to Boeing's Palmdale, California facility to be converted into the X-66A experimental aircraft for NASA's Sustainable Flight Demonstrator project. The X-66A, which will utilize a fuel-efficient transonic truss-braced wing configuration, supports the U.S. goal of achieving net zero aviation greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. A new long-duration spaceflight record, our SpaceX Crew 6 mission is back home, and our asteroid sample return mission is on target. A few of the stories to tell you about this week at NASA. On September 11th, NASA astronaut Frank Rubio completed his 355th day on board the International Space Station, surpassing the record for the longest single spaceflight by a U.S. astronaut, which was previously held by NASA's Mark Vande Haan.
Frank, you've made all kind of records.
Agency leadership congratulated Rubio on the accomplishment during a call to the station. By the time Rubio returns home on September 27th, he will have spent about 371 days in space. The crew of our SpaceX Crew 6 mission is back home after spending about 6 months on the space station. On September 12th, a few crew members, including NASA astronauts Steve Bowen and Woody Hoberg, talked about the mission during a news conference at our Johnson Space Center. The highlights of the flight included Bowen's U.S. record-tying 10th career spacewalk. Our OSIRIS-REx spacecraft recently made a course adjustment to better position itself to release a capsule carrying sample material from asteroid Bennu toward the designated landing zone in the Utah desert. The capsule is scheduled to make a parachute-assisted landing on September 24th. OSIRIS-REx is the first U.S. mission to collect a sample from an asteroid. According to our Goddard Institute of Space Studies, the summer of 2023 was our planet's hottest summer since global records began in 1880. June through August was a combined 0.41 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than any other summer in NASA's record. This new record comes as exceptional heat has swept across much of the world, exacerbating deadly wildfires, resulting in searing heat waves, and likely contributing to severe weather. For more details, visit nasa.gov/.
We're never going to stop exploring the unknown in air and space. We're not going to stop innovating for the benefit of humanity and inspiring the world through discovery. 22 will go down in the history books as one of the most accomplished years all of NASA's history and missions. The golden age of space exploration. So much to look forward to in 23. Climate missions that will tell us about how our Earth is changing. Game-changing aeronautics developments with the 59 and the X-57, and the selection of the first astronauts to go to the moon in more than 50 years. And there's a lot more coming. There was a philosopher, a historian, someone who had a great grasp of the future named Carl Sagan, a scientist. And he said, exploration is in our nature. We began as wanderers and we are wanderers still. We have lingered long enough on the shores of the cosmic ocean. We are ready at last to set sail for the stars. We have set sail for the stars. Now we're going to reach out to the unreachable stars.